Hello, hello. Well, this started out well. So, oh shoot. So we wanted to just kind of share with you guys where we're at with some things. We have told you that we are going to be full-time RVers, that we changed our mind on buying a home right now. And so we wanted to kind of bring you along in some of this process. That was a cat moving our camera. Bring you along on some of this process. So we made the decision, right, to go full-time RVing.
About 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, probably.
About 6 weeks ago, I think.
And what came up with that? Like, what was the one thing that we said we got to do before we can do full-time?
We have got to upgrade our RV. 29 foot with 2 people working out of it full-time and 3 animals was not big enough. So our adventure in looking for a more suitable RV for our situation began. And it has been interesting.
So one thing about me, hate car salesmen. I also do not enjoy RV salesmen. Don't. So we've kind of gone back and forth, you know, deciding, did we want a toy hauler? So we tossed around that idea a lot because the whole back part, you know, the whole garage, we thought it allows us to take the motorcycle with us, but also that's an enclosed space for an office. So we still have our living space, but then office, you know, and plants, plant lover. So I need a place for some plants too. So we threw around the idea of toy hauler quite a bit. But what were some concerns that you had with that?
The toy haulers, unless you're buying brand new, which is not practical because they are extremely expensive. They're all in pretty rough shape, the used ones. And they're still probably 30% more expensive than a regular fifth wheel RV. So that, and most of them were used for their intended purposes of hauling, razors and four-wheelers and such out to the desert and playing around and boondock camping, and a lot of them are in pretty rough shape. So for even a newer one, which is expensive, there's still quite a bit of damage to the ones that we had looked at.
Mm-hmm. Especially, yeah, in our price range. And from all the research that we've done, we don't buy a whole lot of stuff brand new anyways, because just depreciation value on it, for us, it doesn't make sense. But I think the same thing with an RV, buying it brand new, right? All the research we did was people are like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that goes wrong because they're put together, in the factories. But as soon as you take them down the road, things move, they're bouncing around, right? And so everything that we had researched said, really don't buy brand new. You can buy a new or used one, but one that people have already taken it down the road, right, and fixed some of that stuff. And so that was another concern, thing that we looked at. But with a lot of the, fifth wheels and everything, if we weren't going to go the toy hauler route, one of our big concerns is office space. If we're both working from home, just having that dedicated area. And at one point, and actually I might just do it, it's going to be pretty embarrassing, but I'll do a video of how we're living right now.
That's not a good idea. If she does that here in the next 5 minutes or so, this is not really how we live. There are Christmas presents piled all over the place and sorted by who they're going to, and empty boxes, the good ones that you might keep and reuse.
Right.
And it's not a real good representation of how we normally live.
It's true. However, this is life too, right? And so just having some place bigger, a fifth wheel that's bigger, that because we will be living in it for a long period of time. So we looked, I don't know, for I don't know how many times we went. Probably well over, you know, collectively 2 weeks. Would you say we spent like searching online and actually going and looking at campers? Was it that long?
It was probably closer to 4 weeks. We went to a couple of RV shows, and we went to individual dealers.
Yeah.
We made special trips across Phoenix to look at campers that weren't there anymore.
We did. We did. And I think we were pretty set on one specific brand, just because it had a separate like bunk room and everything. Another cat. But we ended up driving into a lot that we really hadn't planned on going to. So we specifically set out one day last weekend, or actually 2 weekends ago, to look at one lot. Well, they were closed. And so we just drove around. We did some shopping, quite honestly. And then we ended up hitting this other lot. It was kind of on the way, so we stopped. Turns out they had one that we were pretty darn interested in. Fit into our price range. Had everything that we were looking for. And it was in pretty good condition. And so, salesman, you know what? I was kinder to him, and he showed us around, and we thought about it, and he's like, you know, what do I need to do to earn your business today? And we were like, nothing. Like, we really need to sleep on it. And here's the thing, guys, like, so even though we are debt free and we do have the money, you know, from the sale of our home, what we had originally planned was to take a good chunk of that money and use it as a down payment on a house when we purchased. But because we're not purchasing a home right now, and because traveling is important to us and we wanted to find something that we were going to be comfortable in, that we felt would last us, you know, on our journey, because we're really looking at least 2 years, I think.
Yeah, I think at least 2 years to get around and see what we want to see, and not rush while we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so to be able to do that, then we need to be able to spend money and upgrade. And so it is our home. And so while it's not like a down payment on a regular house, we felt like we are buying our new home because it's going to be our home for at least a couple of years. And so we chose to use that money. And we wanted to stay under, originally our price range was about $60,000. And then we talked and said, you know, we need to up that because what we were finding in that price range really wasn't suiting what we were looking for. So we said maybe we could go up to, you know, maybe 80, 85 kind of at the max. But we found this one for $68,000. And I'll tell you, so knowing that, so then step back a minute. So we slept on it that night, right? We looked at it, we slept on it, we came home, we did a little bit more research. We got up the next morning, so that was actually Black Friday that we found it. And so got up Saturday morning, we went back to the dealership as soon as they opened, looked at it again, and we weren't 100% sure. You know, like, we're kind of second guessing ourselves.
It's a lot of money. I don't really care what point in your life you're at. $70,000 is a lot of money. So it's not something that we just jumped into and said, oh, sure, and write the guy a check. So we thought on it. I had done a little bit of research online on that specific make and model from the night before, and there was another one in the Phoenix area. So after we had looked at that one Saturday morning for a second time, we drove an hour and a half across Phoenix and looked at the exact same make and model. And decided that the original one that we had seen was still probably suited us the best. So
so we called them and we went back. So this is now the third time at that dealership, you know, looking at it, and signed the paperwork and put in a transfer for the money and paid for it. And so since then, so that's been a little over a week now, we're still waiting for it because they go through and make sure that everything is safe. They really go through and making sure that everything that is supposed to work on it does work. We also are having them put a
ceramic coating on the exterior.
Yeah.
Which is a additional fee, but from the reviews, if you get a good ceramic coating done, there's nothing that beats it out there on the market right now. So he said the bugs come right off, the dust doesn't stick to it as bad, so should it protect the exterior of the camper for quite some time.
Yeah, so we're waiting for that. And in the process, the hitch that we have does not support the weight of the new camper, right? Is that the right way to put it?
Yes.
So now we have to find a new hitch. And we went looking at one yesterday, and turns out they had advertised it wrong, so it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. So that's where we're at. So we're in the process of buying a new hitch to fit in the truck, and just waiting for the new fifth wheel to be detailed and put together and coated and all that stuff, so we can get moved into it. And we're in the process of selling the one that we're in now. So kind of an update, and for those of you that are following along, do you have anything else?
Still super stressful this time of year with the holidays coming on, and like you said, Christmas presents stacked all over. The kids are going to be both here this coming weekend, so there's going to be 4 of us in this smaller fifth wheel that we're currently living in, so it's going to make things even more interesting. We were hoping to have the new one by then, but it's probably not going to happen. So
well, I mean,
fun times.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, it's a good point too, that it doesn't matter, you know, I think we all go through seasons, right? We go through seasons of our life, seasons of where we're at, just with family and where your kids are and where your marriage is and jobs and financially too. And we're in this season that we've never been here before. I mean, I've never been to this place of not having any debt at all. And just still faced with these, you know, decisions of where do you put the money? Where do you spend it? What are you working towards, right? And having to make adjustments, because there's no one size fits all kind of thing here. Like, everybody's situation is unique. And so we made the decision, like I said earlier, to, instead of keeping all of that money for a down payment for a home, it is our home. And so we just decided that, you know, to spend some of that money to upgrade our fifth wheel now. But I'll tell you, this is in some of the busiest weeks for me that I've had with coaching, which has been really amazing. Lots of new clients, but that adds in too, you know, and lots of new things happening with both of us business wise. And so you add all that into, you know, the kind of unknowns of, when is the new fifth wheel going to be ready?
How are we going to get everything switched over from one to the other? What are we going to do with the older one once we get everything switched over, if it's not sold yet? Yeah, lots of unknowns, lots of questions.
Yeah. And I'm a planner, and so not being able to plan some of this is really, really difficult. And sometimes, some of these days I haven't been handling it very well. It's been really weighing on me. But you just get up the next day and you just do what you can do, right? And so we're sharing this because I want everybody else to know, well, to follow along, you know, again, just to, we told you we were going to do this, and we haven't been super great about posting, but that's going to get better.
I wished I'd had videos of you guys with her walking out of these RV dealerships because a salesman asked her what she was interested in. And some days that's all it took. So what are you looking for? And she's gone. She's back to the car. So it's, yeah.
That's a true story. I have, yeah. So this has been a process.
It's all about the approach. It's all about the approach.
Right. Yeah. So, more videos, more stories, more, stuff to come. But, you know what? Send us your questions if you have questions. I think, you know, we're still learning so much of this as well that, you know, your questions help us to know what to look for. And it allows us to know what kind of information, what you guys are looking for from us too. And so we can help support you on whatever journey it is that you're on too. So,
just don't ask us to travel to snow. We're not going to do it.
Well, so that's a whole nother video. It's a whole nother video that we'll be posting about the journey coming up and other things that we've run into. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining.